How's it going, fam? Welcome back to Erica's EDC, and today we're talking about CPM 15V. Ooh, fancy. This is going to be an interesting one, guys. I have some stuff to say about this. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I do, but not in that tone. Guys, this is going to be kind of like a podcast. Sit back, relax, grab a beer, a mom, a snack, all of the things. This is going to be a lengthy one, I think, and I'm sorry that we're in the truck, but I've got a sick kid inside and I can't film in there. It doesn't work. We're going to talk about 15V today because I think there is a little bit of confusion maybe about it, and I want to clear that up. A couple of disclaimers. Number one, Shawn Houston and I get along very well. I really admire his work and his effort that he puts into studying steel and metallurgy and geometry and heat treat and microstructure and all of the things. I appreciate Shawn to the end of the world and back. I talk with him, great guy. This is not a video to insinuate anything remotely negative toward Shawn, okay? This is to clear up some confusion about 15V because there is confusion. Shawn, if you ever watch this, you know I appreciate you. Thank you for everything that you do for the community, okay? Disclaimer number two. Guys, I'm Italian, okay? My mother's last name is Chiricello, like grandparents fresh off the boat from Sicily, okay? We are obnoxious, loud, talk with our hands. It's really annoying. If you hate me, I can promise you I hate me more. We are very, very loud and dramatic, okay? So if I sound like I'm getting all fired up and agitated or irritated or angry in the video, I'm not. It's literally just how I talk. And I promise you, it comes back to bite me in the ass all the time. My entire life, I've been told, why are you so angry? Why are you so irritated? Nothing even happened. It's just how I talk. It's probably why I guess, along so well with like Steve Kalari and Alex Steingraber and Tim Rowland and stuff. We're all Italian. We all sound the same and talk the same, and people think we're mad all the time. I can promise you we're not. Okay, let's get into this. Enough bullshit. 15V, CPM 15V. What the heck is going on with it, okay? Well, nothing's going on. It's not being created anymore. But when it was alive, what happened, okay? Let's talk about it. CPM 15V is a steel that was made by Crucible that had the 15V is for 15% vanadium. Just oiled this. That's why there's oil there. It wouldn't really open before. It's been sitting in the box for so long. 15% vanadium, okay? I believe it has 23% carbide volume of vanadium carbide. Okay, so 15% vanadium in the elements, 23% carbide volume of vanadium carbides, so very hard carbides, okay, and a lot of them. You know what that means? Really, really great edge retention. Cuts forever. We love that, okay? It was already created and around before Shawn Houston had anything to do with it, okay? Shawn Houston did not create 15V. What Shawn Houston did was he was an advocate for very hard steel, super steel. We know that Shawn loves K390 and Rex 121 and Maximate. He's been around for over 10 years on YouTube, like out in a desert with a Maximate Spyderco, like carving really hard wood and doing crazy stuff with it, freehand sharpening. Like, Shawn has done incredible stuff with these really hard, really thin steels. And he saw 15V and said, okay, I bet we can make this a really cool knife steel, right? And Shawn has a laboratory at his place, and he's got the little microscopes and Rockwell testers and all of the things that you need to make a steel great again or make it knife appropriate, okay? He really likes Maximate, so he was like, let's try to tinker with 15V, get an optimal protocol for it and get it into some knives, right? And that's what Shawn did. So 15V, in my opinion, from my testing, is almost like the brainchild of Maximate and K390 combined. If they had a night in a hotel together, 15V would be the outcome of Maximate and K390. From my testing, which was extremely extensive and all filmed, 15V has decent corrosion resistance. It is not a stainless steel. It is a carbon steel. It is not stainless. But as you can see, zero pitting, zero rust, just some darkening of the blade from my testing. And yes, I did a whole bunch of testing. You can go watch it. Some of it's really brutal, okay? For me, really fun and easy to sharpen, holds an edge for a ridiculously long time, a very toothy edge. Actually, let me rephrase that. Holding an edge isn't real life, and that's a whole other video that's going to blow your mind that I will make some point soon, okay? Let's rephrase that. The edge breakdown of 15V is extremely aggressive and toothy and coarse, and I love it, and it will cut and cut and cut forever without having to be touched up. My personal one, this one, was really fun and easy for me to sharpen, which I did on film, and it had incredible edge stability, okay? Mine did. A lot of other people really enjoyed 15V as well from Spyderco. However, there were equal amounts of people. For every one person that loved it, there was one person that didn't love it and thought it was chippy and had a really hard time sharpening it or working with it, okay? And some people that really know their stuff about knives weren't the biggest fan of the 15V. We won't get into that. It's not my story to tell. I adored it, okay? I filmed it all. I literally have a video of me taking this exact knife and taking apart deer legs in my kitchen sink in the wintertime, okay? You can go watch it. Like, literally separating joints in a kitchen sink of a deer with this knife, popping joints. I did a whole bunch of content with this knife that you can go watch, and I filmed the freehand sharpening of it, how easy it was for me to deburr, all of the things, okay? Extremely good experience with mine. This knife was made by Spyderco, okay? And on the back, we have Shawn's logo, the Triple B logo. Shawn Houston did not make this knife. Shawn Houston did not physically heat treat this blade. Shawn Houston did not physically heat treat any of the blades that were in 15V made by Spyderco. He did not, okay? Normal human beings did. What Shawn did do was he spent a lot of time in his laboratory studying and testing and running coupons and looking at grain structure and grain size and microstructure and, sorry about the sun glare coming in and out, and cut tests and edge stability tests and toughness tests and strength tests and everything that you can think of under the sun. Shawn did it, found an optimal heat treat protocol for the steel to have the best combination of edge stability, ease of sharpening, edge longevity, all of the things. And then he relayed that to Spyderco and worked with them to make a bunch of knives in 15V that had a Triple B handmade inspired protocol, or a protocol applied by Shawn Houston. He didn't heat treat the blanks though, guys, okay? Shawn didn't physically do the heat treat in his laboratory for the knives. Spyderco did. And what Spyderco did was they listened to Shawn and they took all the notes and they relayed the information to their employees, and everyone knew about the material handling and the grinding and the DPS and all of the things to make the 15V optimal for a knife. And that's what Spyderco did. But Shawn did not heat treat these blades, okay? Normal human beings did that followed a protocol that Shawn created, okay? So, that whole thing happened. Spyderco made thousands of knives in 15V. We got the Para 3 lightweight, we got the Para 3, we got the Shaman and the Lil Native and the Native and the Micro Jimbo and the Yo Jimbo and all of the cuckoo things, right? And they were all in 15V and everybody got them and they sold out every time because 15V is so unique and so fun, okay? Love that. Love that for all of us. The problem now is that because I think there's a lack of literature and lack of transparency and lack of content, unfortunately, people believe that Shawn Houston heat treated these blades and that anyone else that uses CPM 15V, it will not be even comparable in performance via strength, toughness, edge, retention, sharpening, whatever. It will not be comparable in performance to Shawn's 15V. So here we have a great example. This is a knife made by Levi Herrick over at Northern Knife Works. I've worked with Levi for years. Amazing young maker. He's in Georgia. He's down with all like the Pops boys and stuff. He's right down with Steve, and he knows, you know, Joey over at Pops and Dusty and all of them. They all know each other, okay? He knows Kyle from the Scrawny Lumberjack, Caleb's Cleavers. This is a dart in 15V from Levi. The hardness is 65 to 66 HRC. Now, according to everything that I've seen, the hardness for the 15V from Spyderco was around 65 as well, okay? So these are about the same hardness. If not, Levi's is probably a little harder, right? Because we do have limitations in a production setting for any steel and any knife. It's not just 15V. Regardless of what steel it is, we have limitations with big batch production, heat treat, production knives, okay? But we have CPM 15V in the steel because Levi was able to snag the last bit of 15V as they were selling it out, right? There's no more available, and he got the last piece basically, and he's been doing drops of knives in 15V, and when it's gone, it's gone. And we're probably never going to see it again. So sorry for the glare, guys. That's not going to help. Imagine me filming a video like this and being like, there we go. Now the sun's out of my eyes. Idiot. So this is 15V, right? Now, I really want you to think, and I'm going to ask you a question, okay? If you were to use the Spyderco 15V knife and the custom heat treat, custom made 15V knife, do you genuinely think unicorns with sparkles and glitter would start falling out of the sky when you use the Spyderco Shawn Houston one? And then when you use the 15V from Levi, the world goes dark. And all joy and happiness is removed from our lives, unfortunately. Guys, do you really think? Give me a break. No, guys, that's not how it works, okay? Normal human beings, just like Levi, heat treated the 15V over at Spyderco, okay? If anything, because this knife is, you know, thinner in stock and thinner BTE, and higher hardness, in theory, logically speaking, this one could maybe actually outperform this one, right? And it doesn't even matter about labels or anything. Right now, we're just talking about like geometry and stuff. This knife is thinner and harder. In theory, this may actually slice longer than this one just because of geometry and hardness and the way that this is all configured, right? That my point is, guys, the name doesn't mean anything when it comes to the elements within the steel. I am not discrediting Shawn's work. Shawn revived 15V. Shawn was the push for this becoming a knife steel and making it great. And I love that. But what a person's name doesn't do is change the elements in the steel, the volume of elements in the steel, the percentages, or the recipe, okay? Heat treat is just like baking. There are recipes to achieve certain hardnesses, and you follow the recipe, and it comes out at a certain hardness if you follow the recipe correctly. That's it, guys, okay? There is no magical sprinkles and fairy dust. There is no tap your head 3 times and spin 5 times and you get 35% increase in edge retention if you do that while you're heat treating the steel. That's not what happens. What you can do is follow the recipe, set up the microstructure to be optimal, to be what it's supposed to be, okay? We're not changing anything to enhance performance in any capacity by 35%, 50%, 75%. That's not real life. You follow the recipe, you set it up for success, and if you do it the right way, it is successful, and if you don't do it the right way, it's not successful, okay? Shawn claims that he has a proprietary heat treat for 15V, which was relayed to Spyderco, and that's what they followed, okay? I'm not saying that Shawn doesn't have a special custom heat treat. What I am saying is, if he does, and nobody else knows this secret magical heat treat other than him and Spyderco, there's only so much you can do with the steel to enhance it, right? The elements are there. It's not like this 15V made by Crucible has actually less vanadium than this one, right? That's not real life. It's not like this one actually has 15% vanadium with 23% vanadium carbide volume. And because Levi heat treated this one actually only has 10% vanadium and 15% vanadium carbide volume. That's not real life. 15% vanadium, 15% vanadium. They're both CPM made 15V steel. There's nothing that you can do to greatly, drastically change the steel. There is a hypothesis that maybe with a secret proprietary heat treat, maybe you can enhance the edge retention or toughness or strength by 10% maybe. Okay, with the secret protocol that nobody else knows. But in real life, even if there is a 10% enhancement in this one, do we actually think that we're going to notice it with this? Do we actually think that the 10% that this has over this in real life, outside of a laboratory with real people, is it going to be noticeable? Is it something worth shitting on this maker for because he's not Shawn V? Because he's not Shawn Houston. Is it actually noticeable where you're going to be like, oh, this one performed so much better than this 15V? I genuinely don't think so. So I'm going to test it, obviously. I've got the 2 15V knives here. I did a full month of testing with this. I'll do a full month of testing with this. I'll record it all. We are, selling 15V knives. There's going to be a limited amount there. It's not like we're the only ones. Who else had 15V? Caleb's Cleavers had a piece. Kyle from the Scrawny Lumberjack, okay? So it's not like I'm doing this to be like, buy our knives. They sell out when we drop them anyway. It doesn't matter. And I don't get anything from the sales. I'm not getting anything from this. I'm trying to let you guys know that there's a lot of misinformation in the community and a lot of fairy tales that end up being spun, and they don't even always originate from the person. It's not like Shawn ever went online and was like, my 15V is the best, and anyone that even tries to touch it shall be a sinner for life and eternally damned to hell, and it's not even close to mine. Like, he never said that. He never said that anyone else playing with 15V will not be able to get it to what he got it to. None of it was ever said. It's other people. And I've said this before. The cult following is always, not always, but almost always worse than the actual person or company. And a lot of people and makers and companies have a cult following where they take a bit of truth, and because it gets twisted and twisted and twisted over time, you end up with this cuckoo rumor that is insulting to other people, but also like literally not true. And the main person never said it. Like, Shawn never claimed that anyone else playing with 15V will never get it to the capacity that he did. He never said it. Yet I have people in my comments being like, oh, that 15V is never going to compare to Triple B Handmaids. Like, it's never going to be like what he did with Spyderco. Like, he didn't even do the heat treat for Spyderco. You goons. He never did it. He told them what to do, and they followed the protocol. He didn't actually do it. See, I'm doing the Italian thing again. You guys probably think I'm all fired up. Like, I get it. My cheeks are getting flushed, all of the things. I'm not mad. I promise I'm not mad. I get like passionate and like into it, and I'm sorry. Namaste. Let's try to calm down. My whole point is anyone can heat treat 15V. Anyone can heat treat any steel. It's very simple. You follow the recipe, and it either comes out how it's supposed to, or you messed up and it's botched. We will see. We will see if there is a drastic, magical difference between what I experienced with this and what I'll experience with this. I filmed it all. That's the good part, is I film it all. So I know how absolutely amazing my Para 3 lightweight is in 15V. It was so incredible to use. I love how the edge breaks down. It is literally what I always wanted, which was an offspring of K390 and Maximate. I really enjoy 15V, and I enjoy it from Spyderco. I have no doubt in my mind that I will equally enjoy Levi's 15V, because I highly doubt there's not a drastic change between heat treating this to 65 HRC and heat treating this to 65 HRC. Okay? A lot of it has to do with geometry, sharpening angle, sharpening grit, right? So we'll see. But for everyone that thought that Shawn Houston heat treated these, he didn't, guys. Shawn's, the only time that you're going to experience Shawn Houston's physical custom heat treat is if you buy one of his custom handmade knives that he made. Let's pretend this is the only other knife I have on me right now. Oh, this is an embarrassment. Looks like I shoved it in like a porta potty. I promise I didn't. Let's pretend that this is a custom American belt knife that Shawn Houston with his own hands made in his shop. He runs his knives like 67, 68, 69, 70 HRC and like 5,000 BTE. Ridiculous. His knives are fully handmade, fully custom, and he sells them for between $800 to, I've seen them for over $1,000. Very few people have a Shawn Houston knife, let alone a Shawn Houston CPM 15V custom heat treated knife. Nearly nobody has it. This is as close as we will all ever get to that, because Shawn is not pumping out dozens of CPM 15V knives. Of course he's not, because it doesn't exist anymore. But even when it did, he wasn't doing that, guys. So the closest thing that we're going to get to Shawn's custom heat treat is this. And production knives are only capable of so much. So if you have a custom maker working with the same steel, generally the custom maker actually does a little bit of a better job on it, because we all know that a custom environment is better in every sense than production. And again, that's not crapping on Spyderco. Spyderco is my favorite production brand. I'm just saying, like, we all know, logically speaking, big batch doesn't compare to small batch custom heat treat, especially because they can always be thinner and harder in a custom setting. That's what custom makers are capable of, right? You can only go so thin and so hard with production because machining, people's skill set, warranty, that's another thing. We're not, a lot of Spydercos are about that thick because you can only go so thin and so hard with a production knife because you have to remember warranty. If Spyderco was running 5,000 BTE 67 HRC knives, they'd probably be breaking left and right, and Spyderco would be drowning in warranty claims that would not, it doesn't work, right? So the closest thing that we're getting to Shawn's custom heat treat is this, his custom heat treat living vicariously through a Spyderco production knife. Nobody has Shawn's 15V physically heat treated knives, guys. Nobody really does, okay? They're nearly impossible to get in any sense. No one really has his Rex 121 or his Maximate or his ABL or anything, because his knives take so long to make. They're so immaculate. They're so thin. They're so hard. He's not selling them left and right. So if you think you own one, you don't. If you have this and you think that you own this, you don't. This is about as close as you can get, but it's not the same thing as this. So that in itself should explain something, because this isn't even this. They're both Shawn, but this is not even this, guys, because Shawn was heat treating his 15V like 67 HRC or something. He grinds them to like a piece of paper thin and like hand satin rubs the blades and like does the most ridiculous sharpening on them, okay? So Shawn's own physical custom knives are even better than his collaboration, if you will, with Spyderco. These are like 64, 65, I think, obviously thicker. So you got to remember that, okay? Let's not crap on makers that got 15V in the end and are making knives and starting rumors saying that they're never going to be what Shawn did through Spyderco, because it's simply not true. If anything, this will probably get closer in performance and geometry and hardness to the Play Pretend Shawn Houston knife. These could get closer in theory, right? Because this can be thinner and this can be harder and closer to this than we're capable of via Spyderco. But I will say Spyderco is in my opinion, the best production knife company that I know of. And anyone teaming up with Spyderco to collaborate and to send anything custom vicariously through Spyderco's door, this is special. It is fun. It is realistic. It's admirable. I am not in any capacity taking away from this. Obviously, I adore this knife. I had a blast testing it. My testing of this is what, started my friendship with Shawn. I had such a fun time putting this through real world use. I don't think there was very many people splitting deer legs on the internet with a pair of 3 and 15V. So I hope that all makes sense. I hope that you guys do not take my dedication and my passion as anger or anything toward like Shawn or anything like that, because it is not. It is simply like just trying to be very clear that Shawn did not physically heat treat the Spyderco blanks, and to say that any maker's attempt at it is going to beyond fall short of what Shawn does. It's just a very silly claim because Shawn never said that. And it can make Shawn kind of look like an asshole when you guys are like, oh, that's never even gonna be comparable to Shawn's. It's like, it kind of implies that Shawn thinks that he's better than everyone else and that he thinks that anything he touches is better than anyone else's. And he never said that, ever. And I've never seen Shawn go on the internet being like, I'm the best custom maker ever, and anybody that tries to even get close to my protocol is a peasant. It just hasn't happened. So you almost paint him in a bad light by trying to advocate wrongly for his work, okay? If none of this made sense, I am so sorry that I've been talking for 30 minutes to myself in a truck about knives. Please let me know what you think down below. I love you all very, very much. Again, Shawn, if you're watching this, I love you. All the other custom makers that I work with and that are doing great work out there, I love you. I also really love your mom, okay? So I will see you guys on the next video. Let me know what you think down below. Go use your shit. Learn how to sharpen your knives. I'll see you guys on the next video. I love you so much, fam. Take care.